There we go. I was like, why is it not working? So much vinegar on my salad this morning. Breakfast salad. All right. Let's see what happens.
The following information may make you feel smarter, but will not actually increase your IQ.
I got him!
So don't get cocky.
This is about what's going to happen.
Welcome to DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, a city worker tries to pull a Jussie Smollett. And do you know what a dobby border is? And guess which U.S. state has demonic sea lions now? And can Himalayan salt cause your neck to swell? All this and much more we discuss here on DeaconLive. And for the next 60 minutes or so, we'll get you up to date on social news stories and viral videos that you might have missed, or we'll be talking about it here in the upcoming few days. How are you? How are things? How are things going? If I could speak clearly, you might understand me. Are you doing all right? Are you getting along with everyone? That's all we care about. But what I want to dive into right now, what's tearing the world apart by the seams, Chicken Lovers Unite, is the new KFC commercial that's out there right now. Don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube as well. You can search and find us. Just search DeaconLive Podcast, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. Yes, I know. KFC says that we need to believe. But are they telling us that there's human meat in chicken? The internet is in disbelief after the latest KFC ad sparks cannibalism theories. Oh, God, here we go. On March 14th, 2025, fast food company KFC released an ad in which a man is transformed into a piece of fried chicken and indoctrinated into a cult. The advertisement was launched as part of the brand's Believe campaign. The clip, which was created by a creative firm called Mother, is a sequel to a set of hypnotic, artificial intelligent-powered shorts that were published last month to promote the new Zinger Double Down Burger. Now, if you haven't had the Zinger Double Down Burger, oh my God, I haven't, but every time I see it, I'm like going, God, that looks so goddamn good. But I don't want to eat it because I know it'll go right to my thighs, ladies. It'll go right to my thighs. So for the context, according to More About Advertising on March 14th report, the company's UK and Ireland CMO, Monica Silica, commented on the campaign saying that the Believe campaign is designed to entertain. It provides a break from the often chaotic and dull real world that's around us. It's our way of sharing our absolute chicken obsession while offering the audience something fun that they can believe in amidst the noise. Okay. As the ad went viral on X, it sparked reactions from nearsayers who believed that the brand was promoting cannibalism. Many users shared similar concern when one even questioned whether the brand was suggesting that there's human meat in the chicken, and one Xer wrote, "So are they telling us that there's human meat in the chicken, or there's a cult out there that eats people?" Someone else wrote, "KFC's new commercial promotes cannibalism. This is absolutely disgusting." Have you eaten a KFC? The chicken is disgusting. Another one says, it seems like they are flat out admitting that it's human meat. Another one wrote, KFC is telling you what's really in your nuggets. Cannibalism is they are making you do when they make you buy this shit. Okay. Cannibalism is what they do when they make you buy this shit. So, all right. So I'm going to switch over to camera 4 here. Let's watch the video. All right. Let's watch this commercial and see how bad it is. Now, the video is, go over to YouTube. You can see this in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. This is part 2 of this big campaign that they have called the Believe, whatever, KFC Believe thing. And this one's called All Hail Gravy. And it starts off with this guy just walking by himself in the woods for no reason. I don't know if it's dawn. I don't know if it's dusk, but it's not in the middle of the day. And let's see. Let's fire it up and see what happens. So he's just walking by himself. He sees a chicken in the woods. common occurrence. He's staring at him. All of a sudden, this jacket falls from the sky and lands on some kind of Millie Bobby Brown knockoff girl. They just kind of stare at each other. Now, she's all dressed in brown. Then all of a sudden, people start climbing down from the trees and coming out of the woods. And they're all wearing brown jackets, and they kind of surround them, the two of them, and lift them both up. Oh! Now he's wearing all brown. Then they scatter, and the guy who was walking in the woods by himself and the fake Millie Bobby Brown are walking, and a big golden egg shows up for some reason. Okay. So a big golden egg shows up for some reason. They drop it. I guess it's really, really heavy. Push. And they drop it again. They all start gathering around this big golden egg. Some people are just spinning in circles for some reason. Looks like they're going down to the river, Ma. Let's go down to the river and praise Jesus. And the guy who was walking in the woods by himself before now has a brown shirt on. And he looks out over this lake. And the lake, I'm assuming it's supposed to be gravy. People are spooning it out. Now, hold on a minute. The fake Millie Bobby Brown picks up the dude like he's nothing, like he's a piece of paper, and is carrying him like a freaking briefcase. And she's walking into the gravy lake. She's walking into the gravy lake. And he's just like, what the fuck is happening? She spins around and everyone's standing on the bank like a baptism. Bloop, sticks him underwater. Under gravy. And then she pulls out a big chicken tender. Believe in chicken. Oh, sorry. So, cannibalism? I don't know. I didn't see anyone eat anything. Why'd the guy turn into a chicken tender? I don't know. Are they saying that, like the people said, is there meat? Is there human meat in chicken? No, there's not human meat in chicken. Come on. But it is a weird fucking video. Does it make me want to have chicken? No. Does it make me want to have gravy? Yeah, kind of, sort of. Their gravy's pretty good. The chicken's garbage. I know everyone out there is going to fight me about it. So I'd like to hear what you think about that video. And the way you can be part of the show is go over to prophetradio.com, PROPHET radio.com. At the top of the page says, be heard. You can leave a message for Deacon Live. Comes right to our inbox. We broadcast every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, a little town we like to call Marshall. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the chicken, Believe in Chicken. That commercial, and how does it make you feel? Does it make you want to have chicken? Does it make you want to eat? I wanted the gravy, though. That's the best part, I think. So we'll play your voice on the air, and you can leave a message, and you can be podcast famous. All right, when we come back, this girl was taking ketamine so much that she was going to the bathroom 50 times a day. And why? What happened to her? Well, we'll dive into her story and how she got clean and sober. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Don't forget, I would like to hear from you, and you can be podcast famous. You can be right here alongside of us here in the studio. And the way you do that is go to prophetradio.com. At the top of the page says, be heard. If you got a microphone on your device, your tablet, your PC, if you got a microphone and you can speak into it, your voice can be heard right here alongside of us. We broadcast every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Marshville, and just outside of Charlotte in a little town called Marshville. And it'll come right to our inbox, and we'll play it on this podcast. If we don't get it in quick enough, we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. And you can comment on any of the shows that we've been doing over the last coming up. Actually, this month it'll be 11 years. 11 years. Congratulations, everyone. You did it. 11 years in March. I forget what day it is. I've got it written down somewhere, but 11 years doing this show. So thank you very much for all those that have made this possible, who have come through these doors and exited the same way they came in. Now, there's a big, what do you call it? kind of a trend of people doing Himalaya salt. They say, "Oh, it's so much better for you. It's from Himalaya. It's got to be good." I bought my wife one of the big rock ones where you stick the light up of the butt up on the inside of it, and it's supposed to emit this like calming, soothing glow. It's supposed to have like ions that kind of float around the room. So I bought one for her office so she wouldn't stress out. I think I need like 6 of them up here, so I'm quit stressing out. But people also eat it and use it in everyday cooking. But right now, it's making their necks thick. It's making them freaking like weightlifter necks. Like their neck is as wide as their head. Making my neck extra thick. Experts issue warning about Himalaya pink salt. And here's why you should think twice before buying it. When grocery shopping, it can be tempting to shell out a little bit more to pick up items that seem, if not better for you, but a little fancier than usual. And I think that's where the Himalayan salt guy, he's like, I got to get rid of this shit. I'll tell everyone it's great for you. Unfortunately, many of these items aren't actually healthier or better for the environment. For example, the word organic likely doesn't mean that what the average shopper thinks it does. And just because a carton of eggs is labeled free range, that doesn't mean the egg-laying hens are living in the best conditions. A further example is the Himalayan pink salt. Well, while shoppers may think the salt is better for you, a TikTok user and food scientist goes beyond, who goes by the name hydroxide. Let's call him hydroxide. Says that it might not be as beneficial as people think. In her video, which has occurred over 4.4 million views, the TikToker holds a mock conversation between herself and someone who's enthusiastic about the pink Himalayan salt. I like it's all natural. It looks cool, and it doesn't contain any chemicals or iodine, her fake character says. The TikToker who says that she's a food scientist responds by offering information about iodized salt. So let's see, where is her video? Where's her TikTok video? We have to have it. Is it going to make me deep dive for it? Or is it going to put it all the way at the bottom? Here it is. That's not her. That's definitely not her. Let's see. Do I have to go to the bottom? No, it's going to make me search for her page. Thanks, Daily Dot. Oh, for fuck's sake. All right. Well, now I got to do it. I've already, sold the bill of goods here. So let's find her on TikTok. Paste. Are you not going to paste? Oh, for fuck's sake. It's going to be one of those shows. Hydroxide. I can't hear. What is she saying?
Hey, I'm really liking my Himalayan pink salt.
Okay, so here she is. Jesus Christ. I don't even want to put her on the air now. All right, so here she goes. I'm going to switch over to camera 4 so we can see this and we can all be friends. And here she goes. She's talking about... Here we go.
Scientist Salt Edition. Hey, I'm really liking my Himalayan pink salt. I like that it's all natural, looks cool, and also doesn't contain any extra chemicals like iodine. It's true that popular salts like sea salt and Himalayan pink salt do not contain iodine. However, it's important to note that iodine has an essential part in our diets. Iodine is a micronutrient and was added to table salt in the 1900s because of higher instances of goiter, a medical problem that affects your thyroid, aka making that neck extra thick. A variety of iodine salts are mixed in with regular salt to prevent this problem. Iodine deficiency still affects billions of people worldwide, and with the rise of sea salt and Himalayan pink salt usage as sexier salt alternatives, we may be missing some essential iodine from our diets if we aren't relying on iodized salt anymore.
Can you do more of a tap and dance show instead of just sitting there? Jesus Christ, I fell asleep after about 30 seconds of that thing. Anyway, so what they're saying is there's a reason why we put iodine in our salt. There's iodized salt. Because like she says, in the 1900s, we weren't getting enough iodine in our system. So what happens is it creates this big goiter on the side of your neck. And that's a result of lack of iodine in your system. Now, iodine appears naturally in the environment. Unfortunately, the foods and stuff that we choose to eat don't contain enough of it. So the FDA or whatever, the Food and Drug Administration, started shoving iodine in salt. That's why you see iodized salt and then you see plain salt. And I think I got both in the house. The only reason why I had the plain one in the house is because my the household has one of those, what are the bug salts where you put salt in there. I'm not paying full price I'm not putting iodized salt in that. I'm putting the cheap stuff in there. But I think we got one of those laying around. So we have to be careful. I got to switch back to iodized salt and get rid of that pink Himalayan salt. Now, this girl right here, unfortunately, she snorted up to 1,000 pounds, and this is currency, money-wise, worth of ketamine a month, leaving her using the toilet 50 times a day. A woman who spent over 1,000 pounds on ketamine every month has revealed a devastating impact that it had on her body. Paige Collin, 25, of Hampshire in the United Kingdom, first tried the drug at the age of 19 while on a night out. But the occasional use ended up turning into a daily habit, with Paige taking anywhere between 5 to 10 grams a day and spending $1,000. I want you to say $1,000. Just keep it easy for you. A month. After kicking her drug use, Paige is 9 months clean and sober from ketamine. She's still doing all the other stuff and hopes to share her experience in a bid to warn others. Well, congratulations for getting off the K-hole, babe. Saying that her use began as a once-in-a-blue-moon encounter with the drug. Where she tried it, her experience worsened with the drug as COVID-19 pandemic hit the UK, and worried about the downward spiral of her life. When I was 19, she says, I tried ketamine for the first time. My friend asked me to snort. I think it was supposed to be, it's got sword here. These fucking proofread your articles if I'm going to read them. Snort some for a rave that we were going to, and then it started from there. Once in a blue moon, ended up on a weekend thing, and then picking up during COVID, it ended up on weekdays and then every days. Initially, I really enjoyed it. It took me 3 years to realize I was an addict. I would start off by getting 1 or 2 grams a night. Okay, 1 or 2 grams a night starting in 2024. Can we get on to what your deal was? Paige began to notice some alarming side effects. So here we go. Including excruciating pain, a jelly-like substance when she urinated. Ugh! She says, I noticed some symptoms over time, and I started more frequent toilet trips, but it took a little while to start peeing jelly. Start peeing the lining of my bladder. She continued. Okay, I got it. I had absolutely no clue that this could happen. Eventually, even when I knew that it was all worse, they write these articles and they're talking, the kids slang and stuff, and they don't speak the proper English. Even when I knew it was at its worst, I still continued to do it. It was awful. I was in pain. I was stuck in a cycle of waking up, doing it, crying, saying I'm never going to do it again or touch again, and then pick it up again right the very next day. I was nipping to the loo 50 plus times a day. It was ruining my life, she says. I couldn't go out for 4 or 5 months of 2023. I didn't even leave the house. When doctors performed a scan on her, they found that Paige's ketamine use had shrunk her bladder so much it can only hold 30 milliliters of fluid, which is around the same size of a shot glass. In reference, a healthy bladder can hold up to 400 to 600 milliliters of urine. So when I wake up having a colonoscopy, the doctor said that my bladder was only 30 milliliters. I was really shocked to hear it. I referred to it as just over a shot, as a shot is 25 milliliters. All right, thanks for breaking that down for us. When they said that to me, I felt awful, but I also felt a bit relieved because I was really scared that they were going to say something like, you're going to have a bag. Paige explained the damage was irreversible. She's having bladder insulation treatments, all right, to help her with the pain and attempt to stretch out her bladder. So there you go. She was doing ketamine so much that it shrunk her bladder. That's it. That's a weird after effect of ketamine. I mean, you hear about, your genitals, if you do cocaine, if you do all this other stuff, that, your genitals they shrink up. Men and women, breasts, the mammograms, the mammary glands shrink up. The vagina, I don't know. I guess there's some possibilities and stuff not working well, but obviously doing too much ketamine can shrink your bladder and small enough to where you have to get surgery and have it all stretched out like a balloon. All right, when we come back, the age-old question: how long can a fart survive in a jar? I'll answer this anointing question when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Proper Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And yes, it is a fact. I am back on Facebook. Yes, the ban has been lifted. I don't know if they forgave me or not. I didn't do anything. I had my Instagram from a long time ago. I forgot I had an Instagram, like several Instagram page, and someone got a hold of it and kind of backdoored me and put up some like naked pictures or something. And what it did is it banned everything across the board, all across Meta. So I got banned for everything. And now I'm slowly getting back on there. I got my personal page up there, and I have the Deacon Live podcast page up there as well. So if you do me a favor, if you're listening to the show and you're on Facebook, they're even saying that's for people that are, 50 over and plus now, since TikTok's been around. But if you're still on the Facebook page, if that's still a thing anymore, now that I'm back on it, go over and search Deacon Live over on Facebook and give us a little thumbs up over there. It's still new. I haven't done anything with it yet. I just got it signed on this past couple days ago. So that should be fun. Watch that blossom into a nice little page for you guys to enjoy. Now, many years ago, there's this conversation that stuck with me. I don't know why it stuck with me, but it just did. And I told my wife about this story, and I was a young lad. I was probably in my early 20s, and this couple was in Bed Bath & Beyond, and they were fighting. I'm like, why are you fighting in Bed Bath & Beyond? And they were probably a little bit older than I was. They were probably in their late 20s. And from the conversation that I was listening to them in their argument, I'd assume that they were getting married or in the process of being married. Like they're engaged type deal. And the phrase that stuck out in my mind was, he goes, "We're spending how much on towels?" She said, "Over $500. And he goes, "For towels?" And she said, "Yes, these are the things that are going to wipe our bodies clean and dry them for the rest of our lives." And I kind of went, I don't know if the chick was so passionate about towels, or the guy was like, "Oh, why can't we just buy a whole bunch of like $100 towels now, in 10 years buy another set of $100 instead of just forking over $500? And it just stuck with me. And yes, Bed Bath & Beyond does have some very nice towels, and they are somewhat expensive. But do you know, and I just found this out today. Was it today I learned, or I was this old? That, do you know what let me get this right. It's called a dobby border. And that's how you can tell if it's a good towel or a bad towel, or if the towel's going to last, I should say. People are just realizing what the non-fluffy stripes are on a towel are for, and they had no clue. Neither did I. Every once in a while, I'd see a social media post that makes me realize I know nothing about the world. Last week, that question came across from a Reddit user who wanted to know, who wanted to know exactly what was going on with this towel. They said, "What was the purpose of this part of the towel?" Software engineer Nate McGrady asked in a circular photo of the non-puffy stripes on the bathroom tile on the bathroom's textile. So let me switch over to camera 4 here. So if you've ever seen a towel, right? You got a nice big fluffy towel, and then there's the lines on them, and you're like, well, that's for decoration? No, they actually serve a purpose. I thought it was, this I thought is what my press privilege existed for. I don't know what that means. So I reached out to Courtney Cole, an interior designer at Tile Cloud, about what was really going on here. So if you're looking at here, here's the thing. And it's got the, the fluffy part, and then it's like the design. I thought it was the design, but it's not. They're called dobby borders. This is a part of the towel. It's called dobby borders, which many people don't know. Cole explained even further. The dobby border is a stripe or band on the towel, which has no loops or pile on it. In other words, it's not the fluffy bit. Because it's woven more closely than the rest of the towel, it will help with fraying, and it will be able to keep the edges from curling up over time. This means that the towel with the dobby border will likely last longer than those that don't have it. There's also a brand-friendly reason for the addition, the interior designer continued. It also gives manufacturers the structure area for banding and embroidery. This is why you also see logos and monograms with the hotels and other places on that spot. The interior designer suggested that towels without this border do not stack well, which anyone who's ever tried to make their linen closet look perfectly knows exactly all too well. So basically, it's down to structural integrity, better stacking. So there you go. You wanted to know? Now you know. Those little bands on the thing, they're for integrity and stacking, and just not for looks. They actually have a meaning, according to this article. Now, another question that needs to be answered is, we're all about the science here. If you farted in a jar and opened it 20 years later, would it still smell like a fart? Well, we dove deep on this one. You ready? A while ago, and I think we talked about this person, a reality star began selling her own farts in jars, earning an astonishing $45,000 a week for her troubles. A week! Then, her career choice briefly landed her in the hospital, forcing her to switch and find a safer occupation. She ended up selling boob sweat. If you have a few questions, we all do too. Questions is, what the hell is wrong with people? And why would a fart still smell as it arrives? If you send it through the mail. So we cannot answer the first question, but the second question is a little bit easier. First up, what causes the smell of farts? Oh, if I haven't lost you now, see you later, audience. So much for getting that job over at Fox News. Let's see. One study into the flagellants with the goal of neutralizing the smell with charcoal liners cushions collected samples of farts via the rectal tube and analyzed them chemically. Well, as well as subjecting two poor judges into a smell test. This also, among other studies, identifies the sulfur-containing compounds that are responsible for the majority of the fart smell, despite making up all around 1% of the overall fart volume. Got that? So how do we get it? When you digest food and your intestines produce gas as part of the normal processing of food breakdown, most of the gases produced, like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and hydrogen, and methane, do not smell at all. That's why you can fart sometimes and nobody really notices. Like my wife says, hey, it doesn't stink. It's not me. It wasn't me. But there is one gas that found in smarts that's really, really smell. It's called hydrogen sulfide and has a nickname of rotten egg gas because it smells exactly like that. So to determine whether farts would still smell after being kept in an airtight jar for 20 years, we need to know a little bit more about the stability of hydrogen sulfide. Of course we do. Pure hydrogen sulfide is dangerous reactive with fuming or strong nitric acid and strong oxidizer. Sorry. It may ignite on contact with various metals of metal oxides, copper oxide, nickel oxide, silver oxide, so on and so forth. Ignites in contact with fluoride and chloride monoxide. We're getting fancy here, folks. And all forms an explosive reaction with oxygen, difluoride, nitrogen, trifluoride, and many halogenic compounds. All right, you guys following at home? Get your tablets out. However, under normal conditions, it is relatively stable and only reacting slowly with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide and water, or in this case, fart water. Gross. So the smell would linger for a little while, at least assuming that the jar is sealed tightly. The problem for the buyers, receivers, and collectors of farts is that your fart only contains its own oxygen supply, making up about 4% of the volume. This is enough oxygen to react with a smaller amount of hydrogen sulfide in your farts over time. Let's assume you have a particular potent fart made of 1% hydrogen sulfide, and you manage to fill a 50 milliliter jar with pure fart. God almighty. I know people are just dying now. Since oxygen occupies 4% of the volume and 2 moles of hydrogen sulfide reacts with 3 moles of oxygen to make sulfur dioxide and water, the amount of oxygen does not limit the reaction. There is plenty of oxygen to take away the fart smell. Instead, we are limited to the reaction rate. The half-life of oxygen sulfide is anywhere from 12 to 37 hours, meaning that every 12 to 37 hours, depending on the temperature and pressure, half of the oxygen sulfide reacts with the oxygen, removing roughly about half of the fresh fart smell. Let's assume on average half-life of 24 hours for ease. And since we aren't exactly doing rocket science here, since farts contain 0.001 to 1 point per million of hydrogen sulfide, a particular strong fart containing 1% of hydrogen sulfide would last at least an impressive 9 days before it hit ground zero at 0.001% overall volume in the jar. After this, the smell would come out pretty negatively darn fast. All right. So if you started with a weak fart in the first place, the smell is going to fade a lot quicker. So in short, now that we've got all this out in the air, out in the open, in short, you would not be able to keep a fart smell in a jar for 2 decades. But it's not like they appreciate in value anyway, so maybe just enjoy them while they're fresh. Jesus Christ. Did you get all that? Oh, well, that shit stinks. I know. Sorry about that. I had to. So there you go. So if you're in the business of selling farts, you got to put a hermetically sealed thing on that jar and send it away and sell it that way. The lady who did the fart thing, she didn't have any returns. They didn't say this didn't smell. They kept buying it. $45,000 a week. Oh my God. Well, when we come back, this gentleman right here set up a little trap inside the mailbox where you know those blue things that are on the side of the road where you drop your mail, and started stealing checks. And I'll tell you exactly how he got caught and what he got caught with. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'll give you something for free, but what you got to do for me is go over to ProphetRadio.com to get it. At the top of the page says free swag. Click on that little drop-down menu. You can see all the fine programming that comes out of the studio. 7 days a week, and get yourself something, some magnets, some stickers. Pick out what you want, and they'll send it out to you right away. They usually get it out within about 48 hours and stuff. If you live overseas, unfortunately, it might take a little bit longer to get to you, but it'll get to you nonetheless. Now, we'll dive into this story. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A lady goes to her desk and says that there's a noose in her desk. She opens up her drawer, you know, where all the pens and papers are and stuff. She opens it up and she says, there's a noose. Oh my God, this is racial. This is Trump's America. This is this whole thing. Now, this has happened twice already. Once, the famous case of Jussie Smollett, who took a piece of rope, not even a rope. It was more of a twine, hung it around his neck, and says that 2 guys beat him up with MAGA hats on. Come to find out, he hired these 2 what were they, actors, stuntmen or something? They were from Zimbabwe, some third world country, and paid them like $10,000 a piece, and just to show up on camera and all that stuff, and they rolled on him. They said, fuck that. You were not taking us to jail. And so he got fired from his job on Empire, and they threw him in jail for a little bit for falsifying a thing. Now, the second time, you might not have known this, is it Bubba Sparks? Who's the NASCAR driver? He was so offended, and he's a black race car driver. I say black. I use that term loosely. He's kind of watered down a little bit. He's got a little vanilla in him. But he said there was a noose on the garage door. You know, the roll-up doors. If you ever seen like NASCARs or any kind of, you know, big warehouse establishment, they have the ropes to where you can pull the door down or let it up and all that. If it's not automatic, and you put a loop on that because it's easier to fucking pull down on it. I've worked in warehouses before. Every single door had a friggin' loop on it so you can wrap it around your hand and pull down on it. It had a knot tied so you can yank on it. He said, "Oh, that's racist. There's a noose on my garage door." Shut the fuck up. Anyways, they found out that he wasn't. They didn't charge him with anything. He just said this is racism. And give me a break. That's the furthest thing from racism on that level. Now, this lady right here, an Allentown city employee, finds a noose in her desk. So let's find out about what's going on in this story. So I'm going to switch over to camera 4, and let's watch this unfold. So here we go.
Employee is now facing charges after she claimed someone put a noose in her desk. Turns out she planted it. That's according to Allentown police, who say LaTarsha Brown told officers in January
LaTarsha Brown
a noose when she showed up to work. Police said Brown was the only employee not to consent to a swab for DNA testing. After an investigation, police obtained a warrant to get Brown's DNA, and police say test results on the noose were a match to Brown's. Today, she's now charged with making a false report to police and tampering or fabricating physical evidence.
Good.
No other person's DNA profiles found on the evidentiary items involved in this investigation.
So, I know it was kind of hard to hear that, but I'll tell you what happened. So, LaForsha Brown, I forget what her name was, said there was a noose in my desk. Like I said, she pulled the drawer up, and they said, well, there's DNA on the noose, whether it be fingerprints or saliva. I don't know what it is. How they got the DNA, I don't know. Skin cells. So we're going to swab everyone in your office, Mrs. Brown, or Miss Brown. I don't know if she's married or not. We're going to swab everyone in the office and you. And she goes, no, you're not going to swab me. I don't know why she sounds like that. And so finally they said, well, we swabbed everyone. No one in your office matches what the DNA that's on the rope. You're the only one that we haven't swabbed yet. So they pulled out a warrant and they swabbed her. And they said, you know what, Miss Brown, you are the only one. You are the father. It's DNA, Jerry Springer stuff. No, your DNA is the only one that's on that rope. So they fired her. And I don't know what her background is as far as what she did for the city. If, she had a grudge against the political party of the city that she was working for or whatever. But she put this rope in there. What was her end game? What was her end game there? Oh, I can sue for, heartache and headaches and heartaches or whatever. So, and so she didn't get away with it. Well, good. I'm glad someone put their foot down and said, no. We've heard this story a couple times. Let's make sure that we do this one right. We almost fouled up the other two. But this guy right here, they caught him right away. They didn't foul up on nothing. A man caught red-handed at the USPS customer service were complaining about missing checks, and they found a quote-unquote trap in a mailbox that was used to swipe over $96,000. The thief was selling the stolen checks online. So let's dive in this story and find out how they caught him and what he was doing. Over 500 checks from the United States Postal Service customers went missing from the U.S. Postal Blue Box in May 2024. Those big blue boxes that they have on the side of the road. And then postal workers saw a suspicious car hanging around that mailbox. Keon Ponder, 28, pleaded guilty on Monday after setting a cardboard trap that caught the mail dropped into the post office collection box in Macon, Georgia, which is about 85 miles outside of Atlanta. The trap allowed him to reach inside the box opening and get the outgoing mail. The United States Postal Inspection Service started investigating the missing checks about May 29th, 2024, after multiple complaints about stolen mail. 2 days later, the USPS worker saw a black Tesla hanging around the post office's blue box and started taking pictures. After the car drove away and returned to the box multiple times, the employee took pictures of the car and license plates to give the United States Postal Inspection Service, the investigator, all the details. Then the official saw Ponder drive up to the mailbox and his Tesla, rolled down his window and put his hand in the mailbox, according to the release by Monroe County Sheriff's Office at the time. Ponder then was seen putting the cardboard trap in the box. His fingerprints were later found on the device. He then drove away and was stopped for a traffic violation later on down the road. So prosecutors said none of the mail was found in the bag was addressed to Ponder. He had 52 pieces of stolen stamped mail and 42 stolen checks totaling more than $20,000. Then, as he was going to jail, more stolen checks were discovered. So they're hauling him in, and he's got ticker tape parade behind him as far as more stuff falling out of his pockets. Ponder was caught on tape trying to take something out of his pants and hiding it in the booking area of the jail. Cops later found out it was an envelope with 17 more checks inside of it. You've already done it, man. It's already in the books. You have stolen money. These other 17 checks are just the icing on the cake, man. You're going away. Pew, pew. Investigators looked into Ponder's 2 phones and found an elaborate scheme where he was selling the stolen checks on Telegram, a messaging app. Cops also found pictures of over 500 stolen checks as well. On Monday, Ponder admitted to stealing and advertising and selling the checks. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of bank fraud. Ponder faces up to 30 years in prison and over $1 million of fine, prosecutors said. The acting attorney, Chanel Booker, shared the statement praising the United Postal Investigation Service for investigating the crime. So, I mean, is it a scheme? Who writes checks anymore? That's what I don't understand. Are people still out there writing checks to where they're washing them? You know, if you don't know what that is, there's a movie out there where they show them washing the ink off of the check and, drying them out and then writing, false information or whatever on them. What I don't understand the business there. You're selling these checks as is? As is. I write a check to my power company, $300, whatever, power company, Duke Energy, blah, 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 DeaconLive, living at 123 N E Street. Put it in the mail. It's got to be, so many people do all their banking online. Where are these checks coming from? That's what fascinates me the most, is why are we still writing checks? Now, is it grandma's check to little Timmy on his birthday, his 10th birthday? He gets a little $5 check. Maybe 1 or 2 of those. But sending physical checks to somewhere, he had to been, figuring that out. As far as this right here is where everyone makes their payment to their cell phones, or everyone makes their payments to something in this area. And then that's probably where he kind of zoomed in and honed in on that little area. All right, when we come back, imagine being on a cruise, and as you're going through a certain part of this body of water, they say, okay, everyone, shh, don't make a noise. Don't make a sound. Turn all your lights off. We're going to turn all the lights off on the boat because we want to sneak through this part of, this body of water that, it's privately owned. And I say privately owned, it's it's known for having pirates on it. So you imagine that? You're having a great time, and all right, let's put the margaritas down for 18 hours while we go through this little section. Well, this actually happened on this boat, and I'll give you all the details on what actually happened. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you, and the way you can do that, and you can be part of the show, you can be podcast famous. Go over to prophetradio.com. At the top of the page says, be heard. Leave a message for Deacon Live. If you got a microphone on your device, you can speak right into it. It comes right to our inbox. You can be anonymous if you want. That's how easy it is. You open it up. I think it says speak. listen back, and then send. It does want an email address, so make sure that you're not a robot, but don't worry, it's not an email grab or anything like that. And make sure you follow us over on YouTube as well. We have, for every podcast we do, this whole entire podcast, you see it's in entirety over on YouTube. You can see all the visual effects. Ow! Like me hitting my arm right there. Ow! Oh, that's going to leave a mark. You can see that over on YouTube as well. Just search Deacon Live Podcast. Give us a little subscribe over there. Don't hit the bell. We're not over there doing it for money or anything like that. It's just another media source for you to enjoy the show. So do that. Go over to YouTube, and we'd love to hear from you as well. Now, my wife and I just got back from Alaska. We had a great time. And I mean, we had some complications with myself. My one hand got infected from a cat scratch, so I was on antibiotics like every 8 hours. I had to go do something. But other than that, we had a great time. We saw a lot of the different ports and stuff, and then we hung around Vancouver because that's where the port was, where we sailed out of, and sailed around Alaska and then came back. We had a great time. 10 days, beautiful time with my lovely wife. We had a great time. And we were thinking about going on another cruise, and we get this thing in the mail. I think it's called Viking Cruise, and they're a little bit smaller boats, a little bit more personal boats. A little bit more expensive, but they go to where the big ships can't get in. Now, this ship right here, it's called the Queen Anne. Passengers on the the Cadard luxury cruise liner, Queen Anne, were warned to stay vigilant while the 113,000-ton vessel passed through the waters known for piracy. Now, this is not a very big cruise liner, but it is somewhat in stature. A TikToker video. Of course, everything's on TikTok. From user Cruise Gypsy UK at Lily da Pink. You got to come up with better names if you want to be famous, people. Which has racked up more than 8 million views, showed an announcement on to the passengers as they traveled from Darwin, Australia to Manila in the Philippines through the Sulu Cebrus Sea. This area is also known for piracy threats. We've been told via the loudspeaker in their rooms to be quiet for the most part. As a result, the cruise would be operating at a heightened level of security alertness during this period, which included external promenade decks to be cleared and closed overnight. Deck lights will be reduced, and the ship's external lighting will be cut off as well. Can you imagine that? Why are you turning everything off? Because we're sneaking through this part of water. Passengers were also asked to turn off their stateroom lights and keep their curtains drawn. I assure you that the measures would prevent any unlikely incident. Have been well planned, and the likelihood of this happening on a big ship like the Queen Anne is absolutely minimal, the announcement said. So let's switch over here. Hold on, dear. I know everyone gets excited. I'm going to switch over to camera 4 here, and here's the actual announcement that they had that's got over 8.9 million views on the Queen Anne's cruise ship.
Is known for piracy threats as reported in the world media.
Here we go.
Therefore, we will be operating at a heightened level of security alertness during this period. The external promenade deck will be closed on both sides from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. overnight between the night of 14th and 15th of March, and no guests will be allowed access during these times for the duration of the transit. During the hour of darkness, only essential open deck lights will be on to reduce the ship's external lighting. Please take care if you need to transit the upper outside decks. We also request that you turn off your stateroom lights when not needed and close the curtains of your stateroom window or balcony. In the unlikely event of an emergency, a broadcast will be made by the bridge with
I'm the captain now. If you hear that announcement, jump.
the following instructions. Guests are to proceed to their staterooms. Guests with a window or balcony should proceed to the corridor outside their stateroom, ensuring the stateroom door remains closed.
Okay.
If you are in an inboard stateroom, please remain inside your stateroom. During this time, guests should not remain on any open decks or near any external windows. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to emphasize that the safety and security of the ship, all guests and crew on board, is my highest priority. I assure you that measures to prevent any unlikely incident have been well planned, and the likelihood of this happening on a big ship like Queen Anne is absolutely minimal.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
Until it happens, right? Until it happens. So, as part of the standard maritime procedures, the captains are to make precautionary announcements while sailing through certain regions. A representative of the Cunard told Business Insider, there is no specific threat to the ship or its guests on board. Experience remains uninterrupted, is what happened. In a follow-up post, the TikToker user praised the Queen's and onboard security, writing, quote, so all the blinds were shut, the lights were down to a minimum last night. The security did an amazing job to keep watch over the ships. Well done, guys. In another video, she showed the cruise ship's sonic cannon, which many cruise ships are fitted with long-range acoustic devices that emits a high piercing target noise that repels attackers. The Sulu Celebes Sea has previously been a hotspot for kidnapping, ransom, and incidents, particularly involving groups such as the Abu Saif and a violent Islamic separatist group operating in the northern Philippines. As of March 16th or March 2020, since March 2016, the Information Shared Center of the Regional Cooperation Agreement on combating piracy and armed robbery against ships in Asia has reported a total of 86 abductions. The last significant pirate attack on a cruise ship in 2005 and 2009, both were very successful, able to escape unharmed as well. The Queen Anne is currently on its maiden voyage, the 111-night trip. Oh my God, 111 days. Began in Hamburg, Germany on January 7th and has made stops in England, New York, Hawaii, Mexico, New Zealand, and Australia. I want to go on this one. I don't know if I want to go on it now. The ship will return to Hamburg on April 29th after stopping in Vietnam, South Africa, Singapore, and Malaysia. So I don't know what the lights do, though. That's what I don't understand. You turn on all the lights, you've got this big hold, what is it? What did I say? 116,000 ton machine vessel. Shh, quiet. Quiet. Do you think they're sitting in like little boats and little dinghies, little skiffs out there in the harbor, and they're just like going, "Hey man," I don't know why he sounds Jamaican, only because I saw the movie. Was it Captain Steve? What was the Tom Hanks movie? I'm the captain now. And hey. Is that a boat over there? No, it can't be a boat. Why not? There's no lights on. Yeah, it's a barge. Let them go. We'll get the next one. Get to the other side of the thing. They turn all the lights on. Yay! Confetti, fireworks. Oh, man. We let one slip by. But that's weird that they would do that. But anyways, I guess it's still going on out there. And this one is based out of Australia. And 111 days. Can you imagine that? 111 days? What a nice time. Now, someone who's not having a nice time right now, with all the forest fires and the wildfires that are being spread out there, you're like going, well, can California catch a break? No, they can't. And it's all because of them. I swear. Now, I say it's them. It's this one has nothing to do with their political beliefs, their views, or anything like that. But they're having this influx of demonic sea lions. So for more on the story, we're going to go over to ABC News. I'm going to switch over to camera 4 here. And don't forget, for our podcast, we do have a matching video over there. Let's find out what's going on with this demonic sea lion attack that's happening over in California.
Now to the West Coast, and the sea lions getting more aggressive. Experts blame the environment.
Along the California coast, sea lions are getting poisoned by toxic algae, causing them to act in a way some describe as demonic. It comes amid a surge in the number of sea lions ingesting domoic acid, a neurotoxin within algae blooms, through the fish they eat.
We're seeing them like they're stargazing. We're seeing some animals.
They're high.
Seem very, very sleepy, maybe right after having a seizure. They may be.
What's happening is, there's a commercial here. What's happening is all the drugs and stuff that are happening now. believe it or not, there are some. Hold on. There are some facts that says, you know, when you're giving chickens and all the hormones to the meat and stuff that you're eating, and then your body processes that, and then you pee and poop it out into the sewage system. The sewage company sometimes cannot process those chemicals, and it leaches back into the sea and leaches back into the water and stuff. And in California, you know, everything's willy-nilly over there. They got drug addiction running rampant, and homeless people. Now, I'm not blaming the homeless people for the demonic sea lions, but there's got to be some kind of chemical connection between the two. That the algae blooms are coming out there, and they're eating the dogs, and the sea lions are eating these algae blooms that are full of all this chemicals and stuff that's coming out of our bodies that we're ingesting. So.
One man was surfing when he says a feral, almost demonic sea lion bit him and dragged him off his board, adding, "It was unlike anything I've ever seen in all the years I've been in the water." Marine biologists say the toxic algae bloom that usually forms every 4 to 7 years is forming more often due to warming temperatures and runoff pollution.
Now we're seeing an increase.
There you go.
Over the last 4 years, we've seen...
When you say runoff pollution, they're talking about runoff, not necessarily like the big manufacturers and stuff. They don't have a whole lot of manufacturing out there. I'm talking about the poop and shit that's on the streets. That's what I say. That's what I say is causing the problem.
Consecutive years of this harmful algal bloom off of our coast.
The Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro has taken in at least 146 sea lions since last month. Dolphins and seabirds also falling ill. This algae bloom, already described as worse than the one in 2023, blamed for more than 1,000 sea lion deaths. What can the public do? Experts say do your part to create a better environment for marine life.
Throwing away their trash, allowing anything toxic to go down the storm drain, because everything ends up back at the ocean.
Sea lions have a 50 to 65% survival rate if they get treatment right away.
So there you go. That's what's happening out in California. And say what you want. It's not happening anywhere else. You're not seeing demonic sea lions anywhere else. You're seeing it in California, and I think something's going to happen. Something's going to break. There's going to be a needle or a piece of hay, or is it straw? The straw that broke the camel's back. People are going to start dipping out of California. Taxes are too high. The homeless problems have just gotten out of a wreck. The fires. They're not doing the correct stuff. Where's the money going to? Why aren't they doing this stuff? Why aren't we protecting all this stuff? Our coast, California, it's California coast. Why aren't we protecting that? Where's the money going? People are just going to be so upset about it. California is going to turn into one of those flyover states where no one wants to go there. Nobody wants to do anything there. They're moving. I mean, Georgia, on a lighter note, you know, California is a movie center. No one's making movies in California anymore, unless it's a movie about California. They're moving to Georgia. They're moving to Florida. They're moving to all these other places where they allow, up in Canada. There's a huge movie production incentive to go to these places. California, not so much anymore. It's just it's getting to be a wasteland. And I think now, as the media brings us closer together, the world is seeing what a shithole California is. All right, guys, if you're enjoying the show, or if you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow us over on Facebook. That's DeaconLive. Over on Facebook, give us a little like over there. I just started the page again, so it's going to take a minute to gain an audience over there, but still, be the first one. You can be the first one over there. Just search DeaconLive, all one word, over on Facebook, and make sure you follow us on YouTube. Give us a like and subscribe over there, and you can also follow us on TikTok. TikTok, we have all the different podcasts that come out of this studio. That's Be Podcast Famous over on TikTok. And you can be podcast famous. Go over to profitradio.com. At the top of the page, you can leave a message for us. Comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is the Deacon, saying goodnight and good night.
Wait! Come back!
This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
See ya. I'm a demonic sea lion. See ya.